After decades of lifting, I've noticed something about my patterns. I tend to seek round numbers. I aim for 20 push-ups, 30 lateral raises, 20 squats. If the weight on the squat goes up to 50 kilograms, I'll shoot for 15 reps, which is still a kind of round number. This preference for round numbers may just be a sign of autism. It could also be silly because it defies the elegance of stepwise increments to weight and reps known as progressive overload. It could mean that I undershoot with reps because maybe I could have squeezed out another 1 or 2 given that the weight is light enough to allow 20. But because in my head I fixed upon 20, I might cease to push myself once the bell rings. Sometimes I do exceed the notional target and sometimes I do fewer. For example, as well as those days when I set out to do 20 reps but can only manage 18, on other days I'll get 22. Then there's one lift on all days that's too heavy for round numbers. It's the chin-up. If I had to, I could maybe do 10, but I know that I'll get a sore right elbow. 7 are safe and 6 are safer, so I have to abandon the hope of round numbers with the chin-up. The other lifts that I complete are light enough to work toward the next round number. These arbitrary thresholds must have a psychological basis rather than a physiological one, unless by coincidence the round number falls exactly before the point of failure. For instance, I've really struggled to get an extra rep on the squat to bring it to 21. The 30 lateral raises that I habitually do also work well. Toward the end, my form is breaking down and I'm hitting failure. That's less true of the rear delt flies. I mostly do 30, but I sometimes find that I can do 40 and once even 50. So it turns out that the target of 30 is a bit too modest. I think that these numbers in the head can either be a stimulant or a hindrance, depending on where your point of failure is. Having an arbitrarily high number of reps that encourages an extra squeeze of the muscles can be a valuable goad for progress. But of course, if you reach that arbitrary number well before failure, you cut yourself short of the most productive effort. It tells you to bail before the most profitable agony at the end. Overall, I'm not concerned because over time I must have adjusted the weight so that it's still a challenge at these reps in round numbers. And sometimes when the last rep has proved easier on the day, I'll add a couple to find out how far I can go. And if it's a whole lot more reps, I'll simply increase the weight.